So I was reading your book, looking in your program, and one thing you talked about was the cardio myth, and it might relate to what we talked about. Maybe you can kind of expand on that a little bit when it comes to your thoughts or your opinion when it comes to the cardio myth.
Well, yeah, and really, this isn't just my thoughts. I mean, if you really look at a lot of professional fitness trainers, the cardio myth is that cardio is the way to get fit, healthy, well, strong, and anti-aging, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, treadmills, aerobics, the whole thing. It's just, it's just, speaking of sound, sorry about that. It's just prevalent. It's you go into gyms everywhere and you'll see, I don't know, you see obese, deconditioned people on a treadmill. And I see this when I travel. And I'll pick on the men as an example because when I used to belong to a gym, you go in every day, you see the obese guy with a great big belly on the treadmill every day when he truly should be out in the workout area doing some functional strength. And a lot of the myth goes along with heart disease and that cardio is for your heart. Well, the truth is, full body functional strength training is fantastic for the heart. And if it's done right, depending on the level of the person, I mean, you can shorten rest periods. There's a lot of ways you can modify it. But what most people don't know is that full body functional strength training is great for cardiovascular health because, and I'll use squats. And we'll go back to squats as an example. If you do squats 3 days a week, right? Systematically, every time you do that, you're bending down, you're forcing your heart to send blood to the lower extremities. Because you are doing that, the heart is a muscle too. Over time, the heart wall actually gets thicker. So it gets stronger. So what that means for you is this. Every time that your heart beats from now on, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, because it's thicker and it's stronger, every time it squeezes more blood out to your body. It becomes more efficient. I just had a physical yesterday, well, not a full physical, but I went to the doctor's yesterday, and my heart rate actually was a little bit high for right now. It's 55, and at 57 years old, he said, "Well, your heart, man, is 55 resting heart rate." That's an athlete. That's a high performance athlete's heart rate, And I said, "Man, all I do is strength train. I really don't do a whole lot of cardio." So, for women wanting to get thin, for people over the age of 50 wanting to be more functional, I'm not saying don't do any cardio, but make strength training number one. I'll use this example. The guy who actually invented the whole aerobics movement, Dr. Kenneth Cooper, the Cooper Clinic in Dallas, Texas. He's now in his 80s, but he says 2/3 of his physical activity workouts now is strength training.
Oh.
1/3 cardio, and it's done after strength training. So that's the myth. Strength training, and one more example. If you look at, I grew up in Pennsylvania, and a lot of snow, right? People die every year when it snows, the heavy snow. What's the number one cause of death?
Yeah.
Heart attacks. From what? Shoveling snow. Why? People go out there, they're not prepared to do this. It's really hard functional work. And so full body functional strength training is a lot more like shoveling snow than a treadmill is. So that's it. It should be number one, cardio number two, done after full body functional strength.
Okay, so we all need to do like in the Rocky movie. I can't remember which one is Rocky Five. You go to Russia and you do your winter training.
Yes. Oh, did he do shoveling snow?
I don't know if he did shoveling snow. I
Yeah.
did everything else other than shoveling snow.
Well, shoveling snow is very, very, very hard work. If you haven't done it, I mean, so I'm not even suggesting it. If you're deconditioned, please don't go shovel snow. But strength training is a lot more like that. And again, I hope I made the point. That is very taxing on the heart. So you want to prepare for that type of living. You don't want to get to the point where, as you age, where you're not able to do any functional work. I mean, that's going to take away from your quality of life, your enjoyment of life, and so.
Awesome, awesome.
Okay.
So we talked about training, we've talked about cardio. So before we wrap up, let's talk a little bit about nutrition. Now, how does the kind of the nutritional side of things change, in your opinion, as you age? Because we probably all could eat whatever we wanted in when we were 20s, but I noticed
Right.
myself, as I age, I kind of need to focus in on a few more things and cut
Right.
out or decrease how much I eat when it comes to other
Well,
things.
Yeah, it's interesting, and it's nutrition has gotten to the point. It's almost like politics and religion these days. It's like people, I mean, people are passionate about their beliefs. People get pretty nasty sometimes if you question. I mean, you got vegan, vegetarian, you've got paleo, you've got all these things. And so I, I like to be. So I'm going to say this, and I say it pretty. Clearly, hopefully, in my book, but train first, train hard first. That is the number one thing, because when you train hard, then when I say hard, within reason, with depending on your level, when you train hard, your body's going to actually want good food, right? So it's not going to be real excited if you train hard and then you want to go get a big bag of donuts or something like that. So, but I would say two things primarily, and one is eat more protein. Eat more protein, especially over the age of 50, and especially for women. The biggest mistake you see for women over the age of 50, wanting to get lean, fit, healthy, and well, is not eating enough lean, complete protein. Now, there are ways to do that. It doesn't have to be lean meats, fish or fowl, but that's my preference. Those are my preferences. But really make sure that you're getting at least a half gram of protein per pound of lean body weight per day. And plenty of vegetables, plenty of essential fats. It's really not a whole lot different, Rick, from the regular population. But over the age of 50, again, that sarcopenia, that muscle loss, if you're going to strength train, you want to feed your body enough protein to rebuild that muscle. So that's really it. And again, especially for women. But really for all is you want to get at least a half gram of protein in per day. Lean protein, essential protein, with all 8 complete proteins, with the 8 essential amino acids. And of course, for like everybody else, plenty of vegetables, essential fats, avocados, even grass-fed butter, things like that. But the other thing that I've done, and I've worked really well, and I'm getting a lot of positive feedback, Rick, from the people who've bought 50 Fit, is on intermittent fasting. And this is something that a lot of people really don't know about, and there's a couple different ways to tweak it, and I'm still kind of messing with it myself. But intermittent fasting, basically where you eat 8 hours a day and fast for 16. It's not for everybody, but the number one thing, you mentioned it yourself, and I've gotten feedback on this, and my own experience is that we eat too darn much, and we're so used to eating a lot. And if you slow down over 50, you don't need to eat so much. So I think if I would really recommend to all of your listeners is to try it for 28 days and see how you like it. But the number one thing I found out was that, and I'm a fitness nutrition guy, right? I was eating too much. And since I've done the intermittent fasting, I probably lost 10 pounds of excess body fat, which I was surprised at. And the beautiful thing about it is, so for example, I'll just give you a real quick. For me, I eat lunch, I eat dinner. And the beauty of it is I get to eat a bigger dinner and I eat my carbs, complex carbs at dinner. And I'm still able to maintain all of my performance. All of my strength gains are still going up. My health is great. I'm not hungry. At first, it's a little bit of an adjustment in the mornings, but I would say those are the two main things.
Okay.
Yeah. Really
good.
Yeah.
I mean, and that kind of covers my next question, which was like, what would be your best nutrition tips for those over 50? And it was, increase protein and think about, intermittent fasting, taking some times or increasing the time that you don't eat.
Right. I mean, I would take a look at it and give it a go, even if it's just for a week.
Okay, cool. Now that it marks the end of my questions. Is there anything you wanted to leave people with, or is there a question that I didn't ask you that you really hope that I did?
Well, again, first of all, thank you. And so I'll wrap it up with this. I mean, as you may know, I'm a motivational speaker. So I will probably want to leave with a motivational advice, I guess. And that is, number one thing is, do not underestimate yourself. And this, of course, falls true across the spectrum of the human existence, right? Whether it be in the business you're trying to develop, the relationship you're trying to have, the education you're trying to get. But when it comes to the human body over the age of 50, I am absolutely passionate. I mean, truly passionate about the fact that way too many people underestimate themselves. And so I am not a God-gifted athlete. Do not have a lot of athletic ability. I call myself physically challenged. And so when I see what I'm able to accomplish in my own body and still breaking personal records at 57, and when you read stories of people in their 90s, a guy that just broke the 100-yard dash record in his I think 103 years old, didn't start running till he was in his mid-90s, and he started running because he was bored and all his friends had died. So what does that tell you? That tells you that the body has amazing potential. There's it's said that we are wonderfully and awesomely made. So that is my number one thing is please do not buy the getting too old myth. True, you may have injuries, you may have challenges, but I like to say it this way, as long as you can move, you can still improve. And Albert Einstein said nothing happens till something moves. So don't buy the myth that that it's because of your age. That don't settle for old fart fitness, man. You can be a rock star.
Old fart fitness. That's awesome. Okay, Fred. Thank you very much for your time.
My pleasure, Rick. I greatly appreciate you having me. Thanks so much, man.
And then where can people get more information about you?
Well, they can go to two different websites as far as the product goes. The 50 Fit, it's just www.50, the number 50, fit, FIT.net. www.50fit.net. And then my speaking website is Fred Strikes, www.FredStrikes.com. FredStrikes.com, like lightning. So
awesome. Thank you very much for your time, Fred.
My pleasure. Thanks again, man.
And thank you, everyone, at exercisesforinjuries.com. I hope you enjoyed this interview, and make sure to swing by exercisesforinjuries.com. You can just enter in the word interview, and you'll see all the different interviews that I've done. Also, enter in your injury or pain. There's a good chance of an article, video, or an interview that'll help you overcome your injury or pain. So this is Rick Kasalich saying take care and bye-bye.